Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Breathe More. Today, I have for you a fun personal story that might resonate with you and also invite you to rethink what is manifesting. And maybe recently you have manifested something that you've been telling yourself that's not what I wanted and you're pushing it away. So before you completely push it away out of your life, take a listen to my latest experience. So, a little backstory. I was a dog mom over 4 years ago with my little TJ, and actually was a short lived official mom, pet mom status where I had been taking care of TJ as his pet sitter for, I don't know, I think it was like 4 years, a lot of back and forth. And TJ was a senior dog. So it got to the point where the back and forth from my house to his original owner was just being really stressful for him. So I presented the possibility of him staying full time with me. And then whenever his original mom had the time and space to see him, obviously she could see him whenever she wanted. So that happened in February 4 years ago. And then unfortunately, in August of that year, my little TJ passed away. So it was a really traumatic situation for me where he had a dental surgery procedure that went wrong. Like he unfortunately had an injury, a throat injury that ended up creating a stricture in his throat. It cost me tens of thousands of dollars to try to save his life, but in the end, it was just too much. And so he transitioned. When I say traumatic, like I truly mean in the definition of the word traumatic, like the whole experience taking care of him while sick, while being in surgery after surgery, the loss of him, like all of that just really created a huge impact in me. And I still grieve it. I'm still traumatized from that experience whenever I'm in LA and I drive past the hospital where all of this went down. Like I get flashbacks. I hate it. And since I moved to Idlewild in January of this year, I have had the opportunity to take care of this sweet little dog, Taquito. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen his picture. He's adorable. He actually reminds me a lot of TJ, where he's like a Chihuahua mix, really small. And so he has, like, being able to take care of him here has just given me that sweet connection that one gets with a pet of the unconditional love. Also, what I really appreciate is the fact that dogs force me to get away from my computer because I am a workaholic. I love my job. I can easily spend 12 plus hours in front of my computer, not even go outside, even though I live now in a beautiful environment. And so the fact that while taking care of Taquito would give me a break, it would like, I was really grateful for that. And this last time that I took care of him, which was over Labor Day weekend, and I got to take care of him for almost 3 weeks, I feel. It really gave me the opportunity to kind of get back into the rhythm of what it would be like to have a pet. And so I said to myself and to the universe, like, oh, I really wish that connection. And maybe I should look into what it would look like to be a pet owner again. But then right away I said, but having a dog is too much work. Like, I don't really want to go walking a dog when it's snowing in the winter. And, it's such a big commitment. I travel a lot for work and I don't really want the added expense. So I just left it at that. All right. So fast forward to 2 weeks ago. We're in October now. I was outside doing my morning ritual in my front yard, which is drinking a warm cup of bone broth. This is to help heal my gut. And all of a sudden, this cat comes out of nowhere and jumps on my lap. And then he puts his little face in my bone broth. And I was so startled. I'm like, what is going on? Who are you? Oh my gosh, are you starving? And he was just rubbing up against me and meowing. He's not a kitten, but he looked on the younger side, really skinny. And so I panicked. I went inside and I'm like, what do I have that I could feed a cat? Not much, except for a really expensive can of sardines, like gourmet sardines. So I opened it up, gave it to him. He gobbled it up. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, who is this cat? So what ended up happening is I posted in my community, there's a couple of Facebook groups, and oftentimes people will post like if they lost a pet or if their pet got out. And so there was a woman actually in my neighborhood who had posted a picture of her cat, which I thought was like the cat that was in my yard, saying, "Hey, my cat got out while we were out of town and the pet sitter was coming to check on him. Has anyone seen him?" So I posted a picture. I'm like, "Hey, I think this is your cat. I'm just a couple blocks away." She said, "No, not my cat. My cat actually has long hair." And then other people started to comment on my picture post saying, "Congratulations on your new cat." I'm like, whoa, 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 everyone. No, I'm not adopting a cat. Is this anyone's cat in our community? So that weekend, that happened on a Wednesday. That weekend, I was going out of town for work, per usual, back to LA. And so what I did was I got an automatic feeder so I could feed this little cat. Like this cat was not leaving my yard. It was just there. So I put out food, I put out a bowl of water, and it was just so sweet and loving. I had no idea what to do. So while I was gone, the feeder has a recorder. Like, yeah, I was starting to invest some serious money into this cat, this stray cat. And so it had a recorder, which for me, I would find helpful since I was leaving town. And what I realized while I was gone is that raccoons showed up and they like knocked over the setup that I had left for him. I even had placed a little bed for him because it was starting to get kind of cold at night. And so I took out my little TJ's dog bed and left it out for him, created like with some cardboard, a little house for him. And he loved it. Like he was sleeping there at night before I left for LA. So while I was gone, raccoons came, knocked over the setup. I had a dear friend of mine come over, reset it. And when I came back, like the cat was still there. And I'm like, okay. So now what do I do? No one has claimed him. Seems like he's abandoned. He's so sweet and seems healthy. So I started to call clinics to see what I would have to do. Like, what do cats need? I had no idea. I've never been a cat owner. Also, to be honest with you, I've never really been into cats. Like, I have been more of a dog person. And even that happened like really late in life. I never had your traditional pets growing up as a child. I had rabbits, I had fish, but my parents didn't want something that actually required a lot more help than like just feeding them. However, I had taken care of my friends' cats. And so I had learned to appreciate them. But again, like my experience with cats, like they were very moody and they would swat me and nothing like the temperament of this stray cat that showed up at my house. Like this cat was very loving and wanted to be on top of me and snuggly, never swatted me. And I'm like, okay, this demeanor is different. So started calling different veterinarians, starting to get quotes on what it would cost to get him vaccinated and neutered and all of that. And well, those quotes were a lot of money. Like just getting him neutered, I was told it was going to cost like $500 plus the vaccines and all of this. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. I was not looking to adopt a pet. I'm not even into cats. My last call was to a nonprofit here in Idlewild because there's no veterinarians up here in Idlewild. The closest one is like an hour away. But this nonprofit has some services where they vaccinate at a low cost. And then they also actually have neutering for free. Like they will pay a vet to do that. They don't do it themselves. They were super helpful. The volunteer, she's like, actually, we're doing this service on Wednesday. I had called on Monday and we have availability. Do you want to come and bring it? I'm like, okay, I guess I will. So Wednesday of last week, or like 2 weeks ago, was the day that I adopted him. And still with hesitation, guys, because again, I like my freedom Yes, I had said to the universe, like, oh, it'd be really nice to have another living thing because I live alone in this small mountain town to just interact with, to have something else to take care of. But my logical, practical part of me was like, you're too busy for that. Also, do you really want the expense of that? Like, TJ, you ended up racking up tens of thousands of dollars of debt because of all of the surgeries he ended up having. Like, yikes, do you really want that? But there is another part of me that recognized I manifested this. It has come into my life in a very unexpected time and way, in a way that I would have never sought after. But this little creature, this little cat, has already brought me so much joy. He has given me a reason to get out of my house, to like get away from my computer and interact with this being. He has also allowed me to regulate my nervous system in a different way, where his purring, which is what they do to regulate themselves and just self soothe, like that is helping my vagus nerve get regulated and help me calm down and bring me joy and also bringing me a different purpose. And so I leaned in. I took him to get vaccinated. I got him chipped and I decided to name him Max. So Maxie is my new pet and I was so excited and happy and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, all right, the universe is giving me what I asked for in a different type of package, but I am going to receive it. I'm not going to let the self-sabotaging thoughts of all of the reasons why I shouldn't do this right now stop me because I think this is happening for a reason. Like, basically, he adopted me. He chose me out of all the houses and places. There were plenty of opportunities for him to go to another house, to, I don't know, go back to his original owner, like something. But no, he kept coming back to me. So he got vaccinated, chipped on Wednesday. Thursday, he got out of the house because he is a stray. I don't know how long he's been living in the house. The vet who did the vaccination, they estimated that he's like under a year old. So he took off running, he crossed the street, and granted, like there's no traffic here. I'm in a very residential area. So it wasn't the concern of him getting hit by a car. It was more like there's wild animals out there. There's, coyotes, there's mountain lions, there's bobcats, there are owls. And I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, Max, like come back. He ran across the street and there's a ranch. There's a property with like two horses and a donkey. And that's where he wanted to go hunt. Like I was seeing him from behind the chain link fence, him starting to hunt. There was like a squirrel that he was looking at. I went to grab a treat and tried to get him to come back out. He grabbed the treat and then took off running. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to just surrender and trust. Again, he's been living on the street. I'm sure he'll be fine. But I was panicked. I came inside to record a podcast episode, then went back out. He was literally just gone for about an hour. And then he comes back walking down my driveway, meowing, crying, with an eye squinting. I'm like, what just happened to you? Did you get in a fight? Did you get something in your eye? Like, what is going on? So I start to freak out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this was like my worst nightmare manifesting. Like, already I've had you for not even a day and you already have an injury. What the F? Like, not okay, not cool, little Maxie. So I brought him in. I immediately like Instacarted an eye wash to see if there was something in there. He was still squinting with his eye, except for it seemed like it was starting to help him like open it up even more. And then I had to go teach a breathwork class. So I went into my office. He stayed outside. And then I started to hear vomiting while I was holding space for my students. I come out and there's like he had puked all of his food. And then I noticed that there was also bile, like another layer. Point being, he started vomiting nonstop for about 4 hours. You guys, this triggered me to a whole other level. So, once again, my trauma from TJ's passing and the symptoms that he had when he was sick, a lot of it was spitting up, like vomiting. And so that made me think of my little TJ. I had seen Max's health, like his energy levels, and he just looked really weak real quick. And so I was holding him and I just started crying hysterically. And I just started to tell to him, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like basically how I used to hold my little TJ when he was transitioning. So I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do. I was really angry and upset that now, just a day later, I was going to have to spend all of this money to try to figure out what was wrong. So once again, I started calling clinics. I called the a volunteer who was super sweet. She's in charge of the cat adoption here in Idlewild. And I called her like crying at 9 p.m. at night saying, "Hey, this is what's going on. I don't know what to do." So she told me what we would be concerned about is the dehydration. Like, this isn't normal. And that's what all of the clinics that I called, the veterinarians that were still open at that time, were telling me. But they said, we're about to close. So you're going to have to take them to a 24-hour animal hospital, which is over an hour away from where I'm at. So this amazing angel of a volunteer picked me up. She took me down the mountain to the nearest animal hospital and they took him in. And right away, they said he has a really high fever and he seems dehydrated. We don't know what's going on. Like they presented the different options of the testing that they could do. They also recommended that he stay 24 hours in the hospital because his fever was so high. The quote was like $2,400. I'm like, nope, I've had this cat for 24 hours and I'm not about to drop thousands of dollars. I haven't even had time to get pet insurance. Why is this happening to me again? And then I kept asking myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I also manifest my biggest fear? Which one of the pauses and hesitations on why I didn't want to get another pet is because I didn't want to experience, again, thousands of dollars in vet bills. And here I am again in this situation. Power of our thoughts, everyone. Be so careful. And I'm not saying this to like make you fearful, but be very intentional with your thoughts and how you speak about things. So I ended up deciding to do like the minimum. I did an outpatient where they did a fluid pack, gave him an anti nausea medication, and then also gave him eye drops for the squinty eye. So the vomiting and the squinty eye, they weren't understanding how that could be connected. It seemed like it was very separate things. And then the vet kept telling me that maybe it was because of stress and that was triggering a virus within him. I'm like, what? He's a stray cat. Like, I think he has a high tolerance of stress. Like, he lives out in the wild. So that wasn't really resonating with me. And what I was thinking was, wait, the only thing that has changed is that he got vaccinated yesterday. Does that have anything to do with it? They kept saying, no, 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 no. Animals don't have any reactions to vaccines. I'm like, okay. So I took him home. He rested. He woke up with so much more energy. His temperature was gone. His eye was getting better. And then by the following day, like he was back to normal. He had so much energy. He wanted to go back out. I'm like, sorry, buddy, you lost your privileges of being an outdoor cat. You're my pet now. So now you're going to be inside. But all along, I was dealing with guilt because now he wasn't going to be outside and he really wanted to go outside. I was dealing with the guilt of like him getting sick after being with me for a day. Also, the grief of TJ was still very present. So I reached out to my healer friends and I actually booked a healing session for me to help me process that. And what was interesting is that Max's energy came through both of my healing sessions. And both of them mentioned, like, I think it has to do with the vaccines. When tapping into his belly, like, that's what's coming up. And also, Max wants you to know that he's very grateful that you have taken care of him and taken him in. So now he is perfectly fine. He's the cutest, sweetest little cat. and has brought me a lot of joy, but has also made my life that much more full and complicated. It has also made me think about was all of the moments that I have coached my clients when they have manifested a desire and it turns into their life or comes into their life in a way that they weren't anticipating, completely different. And then they tell me, like, this is not what I asked for. No. And I see them starting to push it away and self sabotage. And I have to remind them, like, no, this is exactly what you said you wanted. For me, I said I wanted an animal to take care of, but one that it didn't involve the type of care that a dog would require, which is being more active and present and like needing to get a dog sitter and all of that whenever I was out of town, like something more low maintenance, but yet something that I could interact with. Well, a cat is that, right? And he has a personality that allows me to mother him, which is also something since I'm not a parent, but my instincts, like I still crave the mothering energy. Like I love taking care of people and things. And little Maxie is gifting me that. Like he lets me hold him like a baby, likes to be rolled on his back, like in a way where I've never seen another cat let himself be held. And Max gives me that, allows me to experience that. So I'm really grateful for that as well. Already, Max has created space for me to do even deeper healing, to process still unresolved emotions, to process unresolved traumas, and has also just opened up my world to so much love and play. He loves playing. I'm not someone that plays a lot. So he's creating those pauses that I need, like to step away, to think about something else besides my work and business and my clients and what's not working in my life and this and that, right? It's like creating the space for joy, for playing, for laughter, and being completely present because playing with a toy and him, like I need to be present in order to engage with him. So I'm grateful for this unexpected manifestation has come in a completely different way, but already I've gotten so many gifts and so much joy. So my invitation to you in this moment is to think about what have you recently manifested in your life that maybe is in a different way that you envisioned it? And can you lean into it and see and start to imagine the potential gifts that can come from it, as opposed to just immediately pushing away and saying, that's not what I wanted? So, inviting you to lean in, to allow yourself to receive and see what comes through it. What other gifts come from it? Surprises. All of this, every experience that we have, everything that we allow ourselves to receive and embrace, it is an opportunity for us to continue to grow and it's part of our journey. So, inviting you to receive those unexpected manifestations. I also want to know, what have you currently manifested into your life that you're questioning? Like, is this really a manifestation or is this a new problem? Or am I going to push it away because it doesn't check off certain things or because I'm not ready and you're doubting yourself and maybe you're afraid of commitment the way that I am? That's another thing for me. It's like one of my core values is feeling and experiencing freedom, and having a pet, has made me feel like that's going to take away my freedom. But instead, I'm reframing. It's like, that's just adding to experiencing so much more in life than always feeling like I'm quote unquote free, and allowing me to experience love and joy and mothering and a good distraction. And so I'm grateful for all of that. So love Maxie already. If you want to see a picture of him, you can go to my Instagram and check out a picture or send me an email if you're not on social media and I'll share with you a picture of him. He's so cute. Let's continue manifesting my loves. Like, let's call in those things that are going to make our life more fulfilling and bring more joy and everything that you desire. We are deserving of it. And I will see you next time. Don't forget to keep breathing. Bye.